Now, in the last video, we talked about uses for the collaborative classroom environment, and we also talked in the previous videos about why I believe it's a good thing to use, and what are the barriers that some kids face with when they try to do the same thing in the class. Now, in order for this thing to work, you have to set some standards, and you have to be very intentional about it, and you have to have a presence in the beginning and not make sure the kids understand what they're supposed to do. And so this is actually part of the reason I recorded these videos, is to explain to kids what this is all about and what they're supposed to do. And the very first thing you got to do is create an online code of conduct where kids understand what they need to do and why. And part of that is also creating a list of things that kids should do or should not do within the classroom environment, and which includes both conduct rules and style rules. So in other words, how to participate exactly. And then after you do that, it's a good idea to have the students brainstorm and create their own ideas about what policies they wish were part of the discussion. What kind of things are bad when they do in-class discussions that they want to make sure don't happen in the online discussion environment. And what should happen to people who actually break those rules. And the students should work together to create that, including the penalties. One of the things that you should definitely include is the idea that if someone does break the rules, he or she has to write a reflection or a blog about why it was bad that he broke the rules and why he shouldn't do it again. And so that is the best way to make sure that kids don't repeat that process. Now, after the kids go through this process of deciding things, you can actually even have a discussion about what are the main ideas that were proposed. These are the top ones. Let's vote. Do it kind of like a vote and suggest. We suggested some. Now let's vote for the best. And let's pick together these conduct rules. So you can do like a poll or something like that. Now, students can then voice their agreement. Online itself, you can be like, yes, I say I. And so that in the online environment, everybody agrees that that's what they're going to do. And then that's how you set up the groundwork to actually have a good environment where participation is going to be good. Now, another important component of this is that teachers obviously have to be in charge of monitoring this, not participating too much, because you don't want to destroy the environment. You want to become a dominator that actually dissuades kids from participating and be like, I am the final voice. You have to let them take care of it. But even though you watch it, it's also important to let the kids monitor themselves. They can report the abuse. They can criticize each other's work. They can make sure that there's quality and depth in participation when the kids participate. If somebody says something that's not substantial, you can just be like, guys, you got to, do better than that. This doesn't count. So the kids themselves can do that. And they can also be monitoring themselves for inappropriateness of the content. And so in another video, I'm actually going to go over the Collaborative Classroom Guide, which I'm going to give to students, and it's going to teach them how to participate online. But before that, just some general hints for people who are actually trying to implement this. First of all, when the kids start acting on this, and even throughout the year, it's always a good idea to model good responses. In other words, every time that you as a teacher participates on the online environment, you actually show them exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So you need to be the best example on how to do it. And at the same time, you select the great examples and you put them in class in order for kids to see, this is a good one, guys. This is how you do it. And the best part, like I said in the previous video, is that the environment creates plenty of opportunity for kids to model, for modeling of good behavior and good products, so the kids can start copying that and over time build and become better and better. Now, another good idea is that as you start using this to actually introduce and encourage the use of the discussion with online icebreakers, the kids actually will get excited participating in and things like that. So just things that don't necessarily have to do with the topic, but that give them the chance to practice the skills and where you can actually go back and model the proper responses. Also, it's a good idea to, within the classroom environment, group the kids by class or grade levels or by interest or even special groups. For example, when they're doing a group project, kids have the opportunity to actually form groups that actually meet in a specific topic and talk about that. And also, if you have the opportunity, whatever portal you're using to do this, and two very good portals are Google Groups, and an even better one is Collaborise Classroom, where I got a lot of these ideas from. A good thing you can do is you can actually create at the top of your page a banner that highlights the expectations for the discussions. And if you're doing something special in any specific discussion, you can even change that to match the content of the discussion, which that makes it more interesting. When kids are logging in, they're always seeing something new. They're not bored with the actual portal when they come inside of it. Now, another thing that's cool about this is that always to discuss the results of the discussion. So if you do a vote and suggest, where kids first suggest options to a question, and then on the successful discussion they vote for the best, and then you end up getting that best, it's a good idea to actually vote on discuss the outcome of the discussion. And so that you should always present your discussions and then in class and online, and have the kids give the kids the opportunity to talk about the outcome of the discussions. And you can do this either through online presentations with things like Prezi, or in-class presentations as well. Now, another thing you can do is every time you put a prompt, include precise directions on how the discussion needs to happen, with openers that enhance participation. In other words, question types that actually enhance the participation of students. And you should try to actually, over time, weave those discussions, especially the best ones, into the classroom and continue those discussions. And you will start to see that because the kids are practicing this discussion skills online, they get even better at doing that in class. And before you notice, you're going to have a mock online in class, and then you transform the environment. You can never get a discussion like that. It starts to happen in class. And that's the beauty of that. That's an amazing way to actually make this work. Now, I'm not going to do this in too much detail because the Collaborise Classroom online, collaboriseclassroom.com, already has plenty of videos that talk about how to do this. They actually have tutorials and seminars and webinars recorded that will teach you how to do all of this. And in fact, all this material comes from them. But I would like to highlight that in my website I actually have a copy of that material that's from them, that's basically putting all that together into one big document that basically tells the teachers how to create the environment that is going to be like that. And before I even start any discussion, I always open this in order to make sure that I'm actually doing what's supposed to be done. And this actually goes into how to ask questions, the kinds of questions that are the best questions with examples, and also talks about questions that kill the conversations, and other things you can do to actually increase participation of students. And so I encourage teachers to open this document and to watch the videos at collaboriseclassroom.com in order to get used to how to actually create this environment and build a classroom environment that the kids are actually engaged in and help and want to participate. But one of the best things that's important is to actually mandate the participation. Now, at the beginning, you're absolutely going to see kids which are going to be resistant to participating, but once they actually have to do a minimal of 2 or 3 participations on a given or any given night, and then you have to have a certain number of participations a week, you actually create this. And in my class, I actually have a minimum of 2 creative participations a week. That means you actually start something, either a blog or a wiki space or a discussion, and then I have a minimum of 5 participations where you actually respond to someone else in a substantial way. And in other words, and we're going to talk about that in the next video, how to make sure the kids are both creating a safe environment and participating in a substantial way. So I'll see you then.